Welcome to the Roundtable Podcast with me, your host, Mike Leblanc. Tune in as we have honest and genuine talks about everything real estate and so much more. Let's get to it. On today's episode, I will be talking about my real estate journey, the reasons why I want to do this podcast, and share my experiences. Let's get right into it. My name is Michel Leblanc. Everybody calls me Mike. I'm a proud father of 3 children, 2 boys and 1 girl. I am married to my high school sweetheart for the past 21 years. We've been together almost 30 years. My real estate journey started when I was very young. At a very young age, my parents had a heavy machinery company, and we would go out every Sunday and have a drive and see the progress of their job sites. That made us really go into a lot of municipalities, a lot of places, and to really get into real estate, really get into land, the development of it. Why make it this way? Why not make it that way? Still remember when I was 7 years old, my father was doing a job on Louis Street in Dieppe. And at the time, it was just a big field, and they were doing sewer and waterworks. On this particular drive on this Sunday morning, we went to see this job site that wasn't too far from our house. And as we got there, my dad looked at us in the back seat, me and my 2 brothers, and said, "You guys want to go drive some machinery?" At 7 years old, big eyes, and we said, "Absolutely, we want to go drive machinery." So we did. We hopped out of the truck, went in to these machinery, and with my father's guidance, we ended up moving some earth from one side to the other and started pushing land. And those are some of the fondest memories I've had as a child. And I'm sure now that those times ingrained me to get into the real estate industry. That continued on in the future, where when we were going to different job sites, we would get to drive these big heavy machinery, always with my parents, my father's guidance. We would be driving and pushing earth from one end to the other, riding a dozer, an excavator, or a big roller to roll the dirt that we had pushed around. So my journey into the real estate industry started after college. I took the, unpopular approach once I finished high school to go to the community college in Moncton. Most of my friends were all going to university. But at the time, at 17 years old, I knew I didn't want to take any biology classes. I knew I didn't want to get stuck into a 4 or 5 year program at university. I wanted to start working. So at the time, I decided to go into a 2-year community college course in business technology with a major in accounting. And I did that for 2 years. Little more on that later, as my mind would be a little different today than it was at the time, but that's what I decided to do at that time. So once I was 19 years old, I had finished my studies. I was fresh out of college in May of 1999, and I started working with SMT bus lines. I started working at the big Irving building in Dieppe and was working with that company. I did that for about 18 months. Loved my time there. I changed about 8 or 9 different jobs as I was in that business. I was asking a lot of questions to my bosses, to my peers, about how things were running, how things were going into different aspects of the company. In the last part of my time there, I became an internal auditor for the company, where I would take a car and I would drive all across Atlantic Canada to visit different locations where the buses would stop. And at the time, we would also have parcels, kind of like you would see now with all bunch of couriers. SMT Bus Lines did a lot of couriering throughout the Atlantic provinces. And people had to go and pick up these parcels at different bus stops along the routes. So when I was going through the entire Atlantic provinces, it started thinking about why are the locations of the Irvings, which mainly a lot of these bus stops were, or different bus stops, why are they where they are? And I would stop there and think, why is there a lot of people here? And that's where the real estate juices started to flow as well. Kind of really wanting to understand what made people go where they went. Why do they live where they live? Why do they work where they work? So I started to really have a passion about that. And in 2000, in the late 2000, I had a talk with my parents, which still had the heavy machinery business at the time, but became land developers and were actually building some homes. They became land developers in a unorthodox way where they would not only do sewer and water works for municipalities, but they would also do them for local developers. And this particular developer ended up doing the streets with my parents. Once it got time to pay the invoice, he thought he was going to sell all the lots. And they did not. At the time, the lots weren't selling very, very quickly or very, very well. And he told my parents he could not pay them for the job they were doing. So my parents, stunned and also in a bit of a shock, didn't really know what to do, decided to take the land and decided to start developing that land, start to build houses on them to try and sell them to recoup their investment. And that's how they became developers. So, with that conversation I was having with my parents, they said, look, we need help. We have a site super for the home building business, but he's overwhelmed. We have a bunch of work that's coming up. And if you would want, we would like you to come and join the team. So I thought about it and then decided, yeah, why not? Always kind of figured I wanted to do my own thing and wanted to be in business. So, and I felt this opportunity would be a good one. So I jumped into it. And at the beginning of the home building business, I was the gopher, we would call it. I would go around and grab all the things from the, so if somebody needed a 2x4 or a box of nails, I would go to the local hardware store and get that product for the contractor. I would go out and take hardwood floors, ceramic tiles, whatever was needed. I would go and get it, bring it to the house, load it into the house, and the people would have the tradespeople would be able to do their work. Once they were done, I would also clean up the houses, get it ready for the next trade, and at the end, actually clean the house, get it ready for the occupants. And then what we would do is I would do everything there. But then a year later, I started thinking, well, maybe because we were using realtors at the time to sell the homes and different things, I told my parents, say, hey, why don't we just put a for sale sign in front and try to sell the lots and the houses ourselves? So, and that's what we did. And I was the one fielding all the calls and going to see people and trying to sell the lots, but also trying to sell the homes that were completed. So I love that part of it, and really took in the passion of what kind of houses we would build, start to really work with the designers on how to do this and how to do that, and where to put the house, was whether it was a 1 story, a 2 story, what kind of siding was going to be put on the outside, and location of the windows, etc. So that part of it I really loved, and then we started to build a few extra homes. So then we would build 7 to 10 homes, and then 10 to 15 homes, and until 2013 when we stopped building, um, we would be doing anywhere from 20 to 40 homes in any particular year. At the end, we were doing maybe 4 or 5. There were more custom homes, bigger homes, etc. More on that a little bit later. But within that time, we also started to develop some land. So in 2001, my father with my brother Marcel, I have two brothers, both of them are older, Marcel and Denis, and we've been in business together since 2001, and we are still in business together today in 2025. So in 2001, my brother Marcel and father went to see a piece of land in Dieppe on Bourke Road to see if they could find a place to put some of their earth for a job that they were going to that they were doing. And once they went to see that location, they were driving around. My brother Marcel looked at my dad, said, "Hey, Dad, this is not a place to dump fill. It's a place to build a golf course." So my father started laughing. You have to understand, for us, our family were very avid golfers. So golf was a very, very big part of our lives growing up. We all played competitive golf. My dad was his favorite sport. And for us, when we would go on holidays, if we would be gone 21, 30 days or 10 days, we would play 85 to 90% of the days would be spent playing golf. So when my brother said that to my dad, is because it was a big passion for us to build a golf course. However, when he said that to my dad started laughing. Then Marcel calls me, says, "Mike, you should come and have a look at a piece of land we found in Dieppe." So I said, "Oh yeah, no problem. I'll go have a look." So the next day I went over and I drived around with him, and then at the end says, "Nice, huh?" I said, "Yeah, yeah, it's nice, great. Do you see a golf course here?" And then I started laughing. I said, "No, you're crazy. Like, you can't put a golf course in Dieppe. Like, what are you thinking? Like, right now?" And anyways, then further along, we start to chat a little bit. And then he calls my brother, Denis, who was studying in Ottawa at the time, and says, "Hey, Denis, we're out on the golf course in Dieppe." I said, "What do you mean on the golf course?" "Yeah, the one we're going to build." And then again, Denis started to laugh the same thing. So um, that's how the whole idea of Fox Creek Golf Club came about, just through a walk in the streets and the roads, dirt roads at the time in Dieppe, and my brother had an inkling of, hey, let's build the golf course. So on that front, we decided to stop laughing about it and start to really think about it. And then we had called a golf course designer to have an idea of what that could cost to build a golf course, because those first 200 acres, we ended up buying that land anyways, because my dad and brother could use it one way or another. So we decided to buy it. The golf course designer did come down, have a look at the land, gave us an idea of what that could cost. And then we said, "Okay, see you later." And in our minds, we were never going to see him again. But with the resilience of my brother, Marcel, he came back and said, "Look, guys," 6 months later came back and said, "I have an idea. We can buy an extra piece of land beside it, the golf course. We can develop the street, as that's what we would do. And the profits of that street, we can put it towards the golf course, and we could pay the difference." So then he gave us a spreadsheet, and we looked at it and we said, "Geez, yeah, I think that could work. Well, let's go see next door if the people that have the land want to sell it." So we did go, and they actually agreed to sell that parcel of land. So then we called again the golf course designer and said, "Hey, we have an idea, and I think we can make it work." He ended up telling us years later that he said, "When I left there, I thought I was never going to see you guys again, for sure. Just the way our look was when he left." So, so this is now 2001, 2002. Now we're developing the streets in Dieppe. We're doing that part of it. And then we started to develop Gulf Street, start to sell the lots, start to sell land around what would potentially be a golf course. When we started to develop the lots at Fox Creek on Gulf Street, which was the first road from Bourke Road, there was no golf course. We hadn't even cut a tree yet, but we're telling people we were going to be doing a golf course, and they believed us, and they really wanted to live in that area. At the time, the real estate side of things in our area started to increase. A lot of people starting to move back into the area. We ended up selling 42 lots in 18 months. So that provided us I guess the trampoline to be able to build and do the golf course a little faster. So we started to develop the golf course, build it, cutting the trees, using our own machinery to do most of the work. And we spent a lot of time doing that golf course at the same time as doing the streets. So all the lots we would sell ourselves would be, I would sell the grand majority of the lots. I would take my rubber boots and walk up the streets because there wasn't really a street there yet, and would show people where the lots were. And that's how we would sell those lots. And people would put deposits. Then once they were completed, then they could build it. They could build their home. Then once the golf course is being done, we've now sold all 42 lots. Now we're saying, geez, we could keep going here. So we ended up buying another parcel of land where Maurice Street is, ended up buying that land to develop again another 40 some odd lots on Maurice, I believe, something like that. And then we had land on Natalie Street and Guylaine where we decided to do townhomes. That's where our home building business, we're building the townhomes at the same time of doing the golf course and selling more lots. So we would be doing all of that. And on the weekends, we would spend our time, uh, our uncles and cousins and friends, everybody would show up at the golf course and would each take a machine, and we'd go out just for fun and do the work. But everybody would do it for free of charge. And sometimes you'd get over there on a Saturday morning at 6 a.m. and all the machinery were taken. Everybody was there, and all the machinery was taken. So we would go out and with our rakes or whatever else, and try to help as much as we could. But all those people that put in that time and energy and effort, all for the greater good, I can't thank those people enough throughout the years of what they've done. And it's still again, some of those memories, whether it was my mom and her sisters driving the rock trucks, or it was us with our families just driving machinery and loading dirt into trucks so that people could go bring it somewhere else. And my mom would go and get pizza and some beer and bring it to us at 4 o'clock, and everybody would sit around in what is today, I don't know, could be the fifth hole, the sixth hole of the golf course. We'd all be sitting around machinery and just having a laugh, and all full of dirt and discussing our day. So that's in 2005, the golf course opened. We had the clubhouse half finished at the time. Some areas of the golf course weren't completely finished, but we ended up opening July 1st of 2005, in front of our entire family. And in 2005, my wife was pregnant with our first child, and my two sister-in-laws both had their first child within a few months of the golf course opening. So at that time was a very hectic time for us, and that's how we kind of started in the golf industry and our family, and our all our little families all together at the same time. So in 2006, we had an opportunity to buy a large piece of land around the golf course. But because now we had built the golf course, the revenues are just starting to come in. We didn't have the means to buy this parcel of land, so we decided to not buy it. However, we ended up finding out there was a company out of Toronto that was looking to be developers and to um, do work in the Dieppe area. So we talked to them, discussed possibilities of doing a partnership. In 2006, we decided to do a partnership with them. We were very excited to do this partnership, thought having somebody from Ontario come in with all the money and different expertise that they had, we thought for sure this was going to be a home run and was going to be great for us. And at the beginning, it was everything they said they were going to do, they were doing. It was very, very good. But within 8 to 9 months, we started to discuss between ourselves, going, I'm not sure what's going on here. I'm not, stuff that's not right, or we're not having any much communication with them. So that partnership lasted until 2014, but for the last 5 years, from 2009 to 14, it was not very good at all. Um, they were trying to, once we figured out what they were doing, they were trying um, to bring us down. They were trying to do everything that they could um, to make sure that what plans we had weren't going to be executed. So that became a very tough time for us. We were still developing quite a bit of land on Yvonne Street and Valmont and Champion, and doing a bunch of stuff out in that area, still building lots of houses and townhouses, and the golf course was started, and we would still be developing quite a bit. Um, but our partnership started to falter and started to become very unhealthy. In 2014, our family and I were able to turn around, and still not sure exactly how we did it, but we had some very good help from a local uh, mortgage consultant, mortgage broker in the city that helped us tremendously to make this deal happen. And we're able to take over 100% back of the land holdings of the family in and around the golf course. That deal happened on the 11th hour. We had until 5 p.m. on a certain day. I believe it was April 8th. I'm not sure why I still remember that date, but I believe we had till 5 p.m. on April 8th of 2014 to make the deal. And at 4:58, we ended up getting the last of the money to be able to make it happen, and we did. But that started another tough time in where now we had this big debt. We had this a bunch of land, but we also had a lot of debt and a lot to do. So um, so throughout the times, we ended up having some really good partnerships and some not so great partnerships. I'll be talking about some of those throughout the years, throughout the episodes. Definitely dive deep into some of those. My point here of all this is to try and show you a bit of outside of what I've done, what I've in real estate, some good, some bad, some ugly, in terms of maybe helping other people that are in that journey and maybe thinking of doing a partnership or doing development or this or that. Some of them are really good and some of them are not so good. I've had some real good partnerships throughout the years and some not so good. Um, so we ended up selling some land. We've sold some land to Sobeys in 2015 and to other developers in 2016. We kept on selling some of the land and kept on pushing and doing things, and it was going fairly well. And then in 2017, I decided that because now we're now 2013, I stopped. I was the home building company that was still my parents' company, was not doing homes anymore. I was kind of in the middle of what do I want to do. Just went through all this bad partnership and relationship with the people out of Toronto, and now I have my three kids and trying to just figure everything out, and it was very uneasy times. Start to battle with depression and anxiety, and went to the hospital several times that I can remember, thinking that I was dying. I was not going to get through it, um, and those were very dark and very tough times. I will be discussing a lot about that in future times. I think that deserves a lot of time for people going through different things, and I will share my story and how I was able to deal with it and still deal with it today, but how I was able to kind of live with it, and how I can move forward with those with that part of my life. So now we're 2017. I decided to, well, in 2016, my wife, which we were working together in the home building industry, she was dealing with all the clients. She's a interior designer now, has her own business, has a very good successful business now in interior design, and we worked a lot together, and we worked well together. We loved working together. Um, I certainly loved having her there and talking about different things along the way. So in 2016, we decided to let's develop an apartment building and let's do that. So let's see what we can do. Let's design it. Certain things would be nice. And this was on Dieppe Boulevard. At the time, there wasn't a lot uh, of development on Dieppe Boulevard. So at the time, I had very little money, and I said, well, okay, let's get it going. Let's try to get this project out from off the ground. And we designed it with a local developer designer that designed it for us, an architect that designed it for us, with Jose's help on doing the interior design and color schemes and everything. And then we went to find investors to do the project, in which we did. In 2017, the project started with a great bunch of individuals. We had a blast doing it. The property opened in 2019, was built with a very good friend of mine, Doug Doucette, and RCS Construction. We built it through them because Doug and I were partners into that building, and with three other people. Uh, and then in 2019, we opened it. I was there throughout the whole construction, kind of being the liaison between the ownership group and the builder, and dealing with the bank for the mortgage, and for the draws, and dealing with the trades and all that stuff. Because with my experience of being in the home building industry, this was kind of fairly easy for me, and I love that part of it. So that was the one of the best projects I've ever had the privilege of working on. And then I helped on leasing. Every single unit came through me. I was the leasing agent. So I met every single person that came through the doors, met them, had a discussion with them, signed the lease agreements, did that, sent the deposits to the rentalsman, and started to deal with all other people that I've never dealt with before. The security systems, to the people for the sprinkler systems, the annual uh, sprinkler testing or fire alarm testing, fire extinguishers, and so on and so forth. A lot of the stuff that I hadn't really done too much of before, but they were still fairly simple for me to do. So in 2019, we opened that, and then obviously COVID hit, but we were still fairly full at the time. And in 2021, 2022, it was decided um, between the group that they would be best to sell the project. We were approached by someone that they wanted to buy the project. So the project was sold, and today I still operate as the property manager of the building, um, with my father and mother-in-law, which are the resident managers at the building, which they're still there and still doing. So Elon Luxury Apartments is still very much a big part of me. I really, when I go to the building or drive by it, have a good sense of pride to have kind of designed that from scratch and did it the way that it did, and just with an idea, and again, not boatloads of money in the pockets, just having a vision and an idea, and was able to do it. So very happy about that. In 2016, I decided as well, while we were doing all that, that the part I loved the most about home building was the beginning, making the deal happen, and also at the end when people were uh, moving into their home. Those are the two times that I really tremendously loved um, that part of the job. The middle part of it, which was actually doing the work and dealing with the trades, was maybe the what I loved less. So in 2016, I decided, why don't I get my real estate license? Why don't I become a realtor? And I did. I did become a realtor in 2016. Did it 2016, 17, a bit 18, but I was kind of getting into it a bit backwards, because when I was a home builder, we would use some realtors at the time, but I felt they were never really doing as much as I was doing. And I had that wrong feeling towards realtors for a very, very long time. So for me, becoming a realtor was, I was kind of coming into it a bit um, backwards. So not really going forward with it. But in 2018, really started to see what a realtor brings and how they bring value to the table. And I decided to really jump into it and become a, uh, pretty much, I guess, full time realtor in 2018 with Exit Realty here in Moncton. And I've been with Exit now since then. So now it's 2025. And yeah, and my journey with being a realtor has brought me to doing a lot of land deals, residential homes, cottages, some commercial property, some commercial rents. So I would do a lot of leases, and yeah, still do it today, and I love it. I love the camaraderie that comes with being a realtor. There's a lot of events. There's a lot of times where there's, I find with Exit, there's every week there's training. There's a real big sense of family there that I really like. So if you have a question, you can send a message to the group, and somebody will answer you. And everybody's really open and honest about helping everybody. And that's really what I like and what I love. So now my future holds of wanted to continue doing real estate. I love it. I want to continue helping people find their dream home, their dream lot, maybe their dream development. I also wanted to continue doing development. We still have some land left over. We did sell quite a bit of land in and around Fox Creek that we had to local developers that are now building more homes that we would be doing because we don't do that part of it anymore. And yeah, they've been developing quite a bit around the golf course, which is a lot of fun. And now with Dieppe uh, increasing and getting better and bigger, there's tremendous opportunity now to do maybe some nicer commercial, some more restaurants, some more different things in and around a Dieppe Boulevard area. So today we still, like I said, own and operate the golf course, which now has a restaurant in it. Well, there's been a restaurant there since the beginning. Used to be St. James Gate, and now it's Boulevard, which are the tenant of the golf course into the building. And but there's room for a lot more restaurants and in and around that area. So I look forward to the next chapters of how we're going to develop that, how we're going to do. We have a plan to do like a village core center within the area, just adjacent to the golf course, and other buildings and other cool things that are on the docket to kind of put a bow on the whole Fox Creek golf course and Fox Creek Properties area. Now we call everything Village Fox Creek Village, which basically encompasses the entire development that we did, which starts from Yvonne Street, goes all the way to Guylaine Street, to Golf Street, to Andrea Court, to Maurice, um, and everything in between on Dieppe Boulevard. Caleb now and Karma Street that we just finished, that are the nicest lots that you could ever have into a they're 1 acre lots directly on the golf course, fully treed. They're creeks and they're so nice that they're going to be unique for 18 different people that will want to buy them and build their dream home. So yeah, that's going to be the next chapter, the next journeys um, of the development at Fox Creek. I will be meeting up with a lot of my friends, colleagues, a lot of different people that I call very dear friends that will join me and discuss real estate throughout the years about all these different things and more. And I look forward to having you guys join me on this journey, um, discuss different things, and also provide some insight onto some of the good, great times, some of the very bad and very difficult times, and where are we going in the future and how we're going to get there. And so we'll look forward to chatting some more with you guys in the near future. Please like and subscribe this channel if you liked what you've seen today. And I look forward in seeing you guys in the next episode. Thank you very much for listening to the Real Estate Roundtable. I'm your host, Mike Leblanc. Till next time, merci beaucoup.